Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today I'm going to be doing an episode of Mailbox, this series where you guys, the viewers, get to ask me any and every question you can think of. I'll look through the comments that you list out there and I'll pick some of the high-rated comments to answer on the next episode. The first question today comes from JeckieBalm76. He says, LevelCap, how much money do you make from YouTube? You don't have to use an exact number, just give us an approximate number. Well, actually, I don't have to give you any number. In fact, my contract with my YouTube partner, and in fact anybody's contract with anybody's YouTube partner, will have a clause in there that says you cannot talk about how much you make off of your channel. The reason for this is that there might be different channel contracts from the same partners with different channels. People will get upset if they're not making the same amount as other partners. I will give you a little bit of information in that I'm not freaking loaded. Like, YouTube is not as profitable as some people might think. You have to get huge to start making any sort of decent income off of this. Of course, the great part about doing videos on YouTube, or more specifically making video game videos on YouTube, is that you get to do exactly what you love. You know, I actually like doing video editing. I love playing Battlefield 3. I love talking about Battlefield 3. So even though I'm not making like a killing doing YouTube, the fact is I'm doing what I love, and that really makes all the difference in the world. Now, of course, the exciting thing about YouTube is that the longer you do it, the larger you grow. And you can end up making more and more money. Your profit is generally based directly on how much effort you put into your own channel. Now, as much as channel partners would like to keep YouTube profits sort of a secret, the information is out there. And when I was first getting into YouTube, and I wanted to actually see how much money channels were paying out, so I made sure I wasn't getting ripped off by whoever I decided to partner with. You can just Google around on forums. Pretty much all the forums that I found, at least the more popular ones, had estimates or guesstimates of what they were making, and they were all pretty much spot on, so you can actually find the information on your own, calculate it on your own if you like. The next question comes from Jake Bosworth. He says, how long have you been playing first-person shooters, LevelCap, and what FPS games did you start with? Well, if you want a really in-depth history of this, you can actually watch my first vlog, which I did at 50,000 subscribers, where I basically just go into the history of my gaming. But I did start off with games like Wolfenstein and Doom. Then I kind of moved on to Half-Life. I did kind of miss out on Quake, unfortunately. Of course, GoldenEye on the console was a big thing for me. Some of the first FPS games I bought was Quake 2 for my computer, and Unreal Tournament. I was playing the heck out of those games. So that's basically where I got started with arena shooters, because there weren't really tactical shooters until, I guess, Counter-Strike. I mean, you kind of had Rainbow Six at one point, but those games were kind of awkward anyway. So it was sort of like Counter-Strike, Rainbow Six. So you had sort of a weird breed of tactical shooters at that time. So most of it was arena shooters, and I do have some really fond memories of Unreal Tournament LAN parties. The next question comes from Matthew Dina is the dude. He says, hey LevelCap, Matt here. What do you think of a bleed out system where if you drop below a certain health percentage, much like a tank, you would gradually lose health unless you bandage yourself or a medic came by and dropped a med pack, adding a major team role to the medics that would keep them more responsible over taking care of their teammates rather than just doing all the killing? Well, Matt, on the surface it sounds like not such a bad idea. Everybody likes teamwork, promoting teamwork, but think about every time you've been out of ammo and you've run up to a support guy to try and get some ammo from him. It's usually kind of hard to do. I've ran around for minutes yelling at support guys saying, I need ammo, I need ammo. None of them actually getting the picture that I need ammo, not dropping any ammo packs on the ground. Now imagine every player who gets shot below a certain health having to run up to med packs saying, I need a medic, I need a medic. Chances are you're going to be in the same predicament. So I really hate the ammo predicament. I don't want to create that predicament any more than I have to. I think where your sort of maybe frustration with the medic class comes from is that it's just clearly the best class in the game. I talked about this on my last mailbox. Are medics overpowered? And kind of came to the conclusion that, yeah, they're given the best guns in the game. They're given defibrillators to revive other players. They're given med packs to heal themselves and other players. They basically have all the best stuff in the game on one class. I mean, they can't take care of vehicles, but in any sort of infantry-based map, they are the king class. It'll be interesting to see what DICE does with the Battlefield 4 medic class, if there even will be a medic class, or if they're going to try and break that up separately, maybe give medpack to one class, defibrillators to another class, or just change the mechanics at which you heal or revive other players. I think small changes could really drastically change just the way that this game plays out. So I'm looking forward to see what DICE is going to do on their next title. The next question comes from Wherdy. I don't know if that's how you say your name, Wherdy. We'll just go with that. It says, Bad Company 2 is just a way better game than Battlefield 3. The horrendous glitches and class imbalance far outweigh the super cool graphics. How do we get DICE to go back to what brought them to the dance? Well, I don't know if I agree with your statement that Bad Company 2 was a better game. I think Bad Company 2 was a great game. I have a lot of fun memories of it. It was without a doubt much more infantry focused than Battlefield 3. Battlefield 3 tried to do something more difficult, which is balance vehicles into infantry gameplay, which is incredibly hard to do. Yes, the bugs in Battlefield 3 are aggravating. The fact that the devs haven't fixed some of the basic bugs that have been in the game since launch is even more aggravating. It's not that Bad Company 2 was completely bug-free, but it was definitely a bit more polished and seemed to just kind of play out better. But let's be honest, Battlefield 3 from any sort of financial standpoint was a huge success, much bigger success than Bad Company 2, and that's something that DICE has to look at. Now, when you have stuff like all these vehicles, jets, helicopters, crazy stuff happens. You're able to make really cool videos from it. You're able to have really cool gameplay captured. And there wasn't quite as much from Bad Company 2. You certainly could do some very awesome stuff, but the lack of jets and massive vehicle maps basically just made the occurrence of some of this crazy stuff far less common. Now, regardless of what DICE says about Battlefield 4 being on the Frostbite 3 engine, it's the Frostbite 2.5 engine. It is this engine that has been upgraded, and let's hope that they've actually gone in and refined the heck out of it and tried to polish the netcode and all the bugs that we have in this game, and hopefully have Battlefield 4 just be a nice, solid title that has really sort of maximized the use of the engine and polished it up. And then we can have a great looking game that is also really nicely polished. I don't think they're going to get rid of some of the larger vehicle aspects of Battlefield 3 because it's just so freaking marketable. And there is a place for those maps. I mean, right now, you know, I'm playing a lot of vehicle warfare on Nabondon Flats. There's a lot of infantry. People like this map. It's not too large. I think they did a lot of good experimenting with the Battlefield 3 expansions. Found that maybe Armored Kill was a little bit too big, or maybe we shouldn't release expansions that are nothing but large armor maps. They sort of learned their lesson, and I think Endgame was sort of a good example of like, hey, we'll give you some interesting mixtures here of like not just huge vehicle maps, but also some smaller, slightly more condensed maps where infantry can be more effective. I think they're figuring out how to balance out this game because it is a hard thing to do. Infantry and vehicle warfare is incredibly hard to balance. If you've ever tried to play any other games that try and mix vehicle warfare in with infantry warfare like Tribes or Planetside, it is hard to do, and most of them I think have failed. I think Battlefield is the only series that has gotten close enough. So basically my long ramble there was to point out that Bad Company 2 feels like a better game if you're mostly focused on infantry combat because they really limited the quantity of vehicles and stuff regardless of all the bugs and stuff. So if you really just love the infantry combat, Bad Company 2 felt a little bit more geared towards you. Anyway, that pretty much wraps it up for this episode of Mailbox. Don't forget to leave your questions in the comments section down below and look through the comments or questions and rate up the ones that you'd really like me to answer. It'll make it easier for me to know what you guys really want to know about. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.